What's up, guys? Welcome back to Nakon Fitness. If you're skinny, if you're feminine, if you don't feel confident, this is the exact step-by-step system to get you from a ladyboy to a playboy. Now, I want to make it clear that I have nothing against transgenders. I'm not transphobic or whatever. I go Thailand, I'm half Thai myself. So, let's get into the vid. Why do you feel like a ladyboy? Well, you're skinny, right? You're skinny, you don't feel confident about that, you don't like that. You don't like being a twig. And you're feminine. You don't act like your gender, you don't act like a man. So, how are we gonna solve this? So first, stop being skinny, right? What we're gonna do about that is to start training. But training correctly. A lot of you guys train, you go 6 times a week, you go 7 times a week, you just go in there and just lift a bunch of weights and expect a result. Doing a bunch of junk volume. You're not gonna be Arnold doing a bunch of junk volume. He's on steroids and you're not. So, what are you gonna do about that? You're gonna start with high intensity training. High intensity training. 3 to 4 times a week. Now, the reason why I want to do that is because if you're getting strong in the gym, if you're pushing yourself, you boost your testosterone as a man, and you're guaranteed to get bigger in the gym. Right? If you're tearing your muscle fibers, if you're focused on mechanical tension instead of a bunch of like junk volume and just wasting your time in the gym, you're guaranteed results. That's the case. Now, another thing, you want to start with competition. Right? It's not talked about. It's not. Everyone keeps talking about like, oh, you lift weights and you're competing with yourself, right? You're pushing yourself, you're giving yourself that motivation, that gratification of, oh, I pushed myself, I've done some work at the gym, which is good. But if you want to become more manly, you have to start competing more. Doesn't matter if it's rugby or football, or I do boxing, and I find that's the best competition because you're literally beating up another man, he's beating up you, and you're fighting for your life essentially. But doesn't matter what it is. It could be paddle, it could be the worst sport ever. But if you're competing with someone else, female or male, it doesn't matter. If you're constantly competing, right? You can look at the studies. They show guys with like the worst lifestyle, like businessmen, like salesmen, and like I forgot which study it was, but salesmen with like the worst lifestyle. They do drugs, they do cocaine, they do drinking, but because they're always competing, because they're trying to beat this person, get this money, and go after it and conquer life, they end up with the highest testosterone than a man who's optimal, who eats the best diet and this and that, So what I want you to do is compete. Compete as a man. Now, second thing is diet. A lot of you guys fuck up on this, right? Because you think if you want to get big, you have to do a massive dirty bulk. You have to just eat a bunch of junk and Mackies or burgers or pizza, and it's just like, not only do you just put on a bunch of fat, you don't really put on a bunch of muscle, right? You want to, at the end of the day, still put on the mass, but have your abs still show and feel good. You have to feel good. What are you gonna do to build muscle and not gain as much fat? You're gonna combine two things. Animal-based diet and raw milk. You can't really see this because of the handwriting, but animal-based diet is stuff like grass-fed steak, eggs, wild-caught salmon. If you can't afford that, you can still, make a cheap alternative, right? Ground beef, you can get huge packs of it, right? It's a ruminant animal, so it's not the worst thing ever. You can't get organic, it's fine. You can have like potatoes and stuff like this, and it's cheap alternative, which makes you stick to the diet. You guys think, oh, I can't do a diet because it's too expensive, this and that. Stop with the excuses. You can make a diet cheap and healthy for you. When I was broke, when I was working, a retail job and had 0 time, I would eat ground beef and eggs every single day. I'll have huge packs of it, right? I'll save so much money. Instead of buying like the meal deals and stuff, even with my discount, I wouldn't touch that shit. You know why? Because I want to get in shape, because I want to be confident, because I wanted to be manly. So, next thing is the raw milk, right? Raw milk is the best thing you can have if you want to put on size. Because a lot of you guys do pasteurized milk. I did. I used to do a gallon of milk and I thought I would get in shape and get big that way. I ended up being bloated, and the reason why is because with pasteurized conventional milk you buy from the shop, the enzymes are denatured. So a lot of people that say that lactose intolerant, it's because the lactase, the enzymes are not digestible because it's heated up and pasteurized. So start having raw milk, right? I have this thing called the Boner Shake, and it's basically a gallon, not a gallon, you can have half a gallon if you want, of raw milk with 4 eggs, raw honey, and you have that every single day. And I guarantee you'll get big that way. Now, next thing is you're feminine, right? So we solved this. We solved the fact that you're skinny with training, diet. Obviously, you want to sleep enough. You want to sleep 7 to 8 hours. Forgot to mention that. But you're feminine, right? So you can do all this, but you're still a ladyboy at the end of the day. So what are you going to do about it? First thing, the number one thing you have to be doing is locking in your mindset. Your mindset. A lot of you guys think you're not a man, you're not masculine, and in thinking that, it becomes that, right? So, first thing you have to do is change it. You have to stop being a pussy, right? You have to start thinking more positively about yourself. I understand it because when I was 16, 17, 18, I was introverted and I didn't like it. I didn't like being introverted. I didn't like being feminine. I wouldn't talk with confidence, right? With charisma. I wouldn't go out there and talk to girls, for example, because I was scared, because I didn't like confrontation, right? Just the way I grew up. But I changed my mindset. And after changing my training, changing my diet, stopped being skinny, I had more confidence. My mindset slowly improved. And I'm telling you right now, if your mindset changes, everything comes eventually. But if you don't change your mindset, it doesn't matter. You can do everything in the world to be optimal, to be high test, whatever. But if you don't change your mindset, nothing really changes at the end of the day. So, change your mindset. Second thing, if you want to stop being feminine, is environment. Your environment plays a huge role in how you're going to become a man, and how you're going to become more masculine, how you become more confident. Whatever things that you want is all dictated by your environment. And how you let your environment dictate who you are as a man is a huge factor in how you're going to improve. A lot of you guys let things happen to you, and that's why you come to you becoming skinny and feminine and not having much going on, because you let life dictate what you want. And you need to stop that right now. Here's the 3 things that you're doing that's stopping you. That's, letting your environment stop you to get where you want to be. That is TikTok, family, and negativity. Don't mind my handwriting. This is probably I've never had the best handwriting. But you guys scroll on TikTok, you watch porn, or you let family and friends, or your girlfriend, or whatever it is, you let everything dictate how you want to be. You let them tell you what to do, right? Same as negative talk. You talk negatively to yourself. Links to the mindset still, but if you let your environment dictate how you think, and you actually think every single morning, you play depressing music, or you just think it every single day, you talk down and down and down, you put yourself in a state of depression, it's very hard to become a high frequency, high status man. It's impossible. You can't get jacked, you can't be masculine that way. It's literally impossible. But yeah, this is the exact system to go from a skinny little lady boy to a jacked, confident, masculine playboy. So if you like the vid, drop a comment, drop a like, follow for more. And if you're interested in one-on-one coaching, book a call down below. But yeah, that's the end of it. I'll see you guys in the next one. Us! Wah!